Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk. Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of World of Tanks. And we have Noble Wolf back from Clan Film. And he's going to have a very workman-like effort in his Super Mutant, his Mutant M6. This was a beta tank at one point, I believe, something like that. And recently they started selling it. I actually have one right now, but for a very long time you had to be one of the first players in the game to own this. And unknown how Noble got his, but he is here on Siegfried line. Spawned into the south. He's going to come up here, and this is not a spot I go to very much, actually, because it is sort of exposed to artillery, especially if you find the artillery is sitting up in this area back here, which apparently they are not, so we'll talk about that a little while later. But look at Noble's team. When I say workman-like, he gets up to where the job is, right? He's up where the job is. The P-58, the WZ, the Scorpion, the UDES, the other UDES. Good Lord, how many guys are back there? Now that was unlucky. The Scorpion G just pins him right off the bat with a really high roll with regular AP, and all of a sudden you see Noble going, what happened? You see him, he's looking where he does what I do a lot. He turns around and goes, all right, where did I get hit? And guess where he got hit? Right in the weak hatch. Unbelievable, that Scorpion. Sometimes that happens, though. That's what RNG does to us. So he eats a big shot right off the bat. It gives a little bit back to the Sturv, and one for the Scorpion as well. So he's still checking that, wondering how the heck he just got snap pinned by those guys. Now, UDES has plenty of pen with gold, and so does, I believe, the Scorpion, especially on the lower plate. This thing has really good armor, and the lower plate is hard to hit, but you can see the lower plate is exposed potentially, and if they're up on the hill, though, it's a look down, which is going to increase the angle. Obviously, if you look up, you flat plate it. I'm talking about the lower plate right now. And if you look down, at least on the lower plate, it has more angle, but of course it flat plates the upper plate. So those are some of the things to think about with armor based on where the enemy tank is shooting you from. Either higher or lower can either weaken or strengthen certain parts of the armor. The 7501 shows up. He's kind of side scraping right there. And, Noble Wolf doesn't have a lot of help going on in town. It's basically him, a Lurva, a Schwarzpanzer moving around the bottom there of the town, and the Scorpion G. And it turns out, actually, that all the TDs hiding in the back end up punishing some of the enemy tanks that try to come out and push. But I'll tell you that if they pushed hard and gobbled up the Lurva and the Mutant right here, they'd own the town, which would make really winning the game pretty easy past that. But unfortunately, they don't really realize that's what's going on, or they're not aggressive enough. And Noble takes a hit from the low, who actually pins him, and he gets tracked from the M449, so he blocks that one. But now we're down to 700. And he's looking, all right, how did the low hit him? Potentially in the side armor. It's hard to tell. It might have been actually the front. Oh, there we go. Look what he did. See that? There's another great example of flat plating. That little weird angle right there. Because he came out side scraping, he flat plated that thing, so there was less angle. Stupid zoom. So there was less angle to it, and the lower right through that. And isn't that interesting? I didn't realize that tank actually had that little spot, but guess who did? The Lurva. The Lurva knew exactly. So we're going to try to do this again. We can't quite get to this guy. Maybe try to sneak a shot. And look at that. He's done it again. Are we going to find another shot in the exact same spot? Yes, we are. Look at what he's doing. He's just going right through that weak spot. That is exposed. There's kind of a little shoulder. And it is exposed without Noble Wolf's gun being able to come online. So that's well played by the Lurva. And then unfortunately, it does not quite sneak one in on him. So he decides to stop side scraping against a guy that knows exactly where to shoot him. The Indian Panzer goes crashing down there at the Schwarzpanzer. And the interesting thing is he dies pretty quickly because of all those TDs back there. Then the 7501 is looking around. He's trying to figure out if he wants to come out. There goes the Indian Panzer. He doesn't last long with all those campers. Look at his whole team. Poor Noble Wolf. His whole team is down here in the south. This is unbelievable. Or believable. I always say it's unbelievable, but it's completely believable, isn't it? It should be unbelievable. Now, I mentioned early in this video, in this replay, that it was kind of a workman-like game, and I've talked about this a little bit in the past with this game. he ends up having a pretty good game. By my standards, I call it workman-like. For a lot of people's standards, they'd say it was as good to really good, depending on their skill level. But it wasn't 5,000, and it wasn't, 10 kills, but it was a good game. And it actually turns out to be, a nice job bouncing that as well, it actually turns out to be the top experience in the game. And it's just because he's up in the place where the fight is. He's getting the assist. Look, he's got 2,127 assists just off of spotting because there's so many Campa Lampa Ding Dongs back behind him, back there. And this is kind of one of my points that I try to point out to a lot of people who like to camp and are afraid to get forward. In the right situation, with the right tank, going to the right spots, and you can learn that by actually being aggressive. You're never going to learn it back in the back. You're just not. You're not going to learn these spots. You're not going to learn how to fight them. You're not going to learn how to play this way. And what you're also not going to be is near the top of the rolls on games consistently. And I think that's a really interesting and important point for this game. Here we are at 1,900 damage, 1,200 block, 2,127 assists. You might go, well, Guido, he's in a heavy. Okay, that's kind of my point. He realizes he's in a heavy. He's going up to the spot where he needs to be. This is a bummer. He just kind of shoots it into the rock right there. But some of those other tanks could be in here. That WZ-111 1FT is a great assault TD. He could have done great work up in here. He'd have got more experience because he wouldn't have been sharing everything. Who knows how many shots he missed sitting back there on the red line. He could have been up there. The medium, the 14.5 or whatever, could have been up here helping these guys out. So it really is a case in this game of it doesn't really take... Now, there's the Artie, right? So the Artie just hit him. And you look at the direction the shot came from. I think both Arties are down here. Clearly not over in this corner because the Mutts has cleared it out. So thank goodness they weren't... I got to do this again. Thank goodness the Artie weren't up here in the northwest, or else he'd have been just getting hammered on that corner. And he'd have known after the first one came in. So he was actually Artie safe because both those clowns are over here. So it doesn't take actually a whole lot to score well in this game, to get good experience, to get good credits. It's actually kind of amazing how little it takes in terms of damage and assist and all the things. Because you look at this, go, well, it's a good game, but not amazing. But actually, it's a really good game. Turns out it's a really good game. He just continues to go towards the hit points. He didn't back down. He didn't go, oh my gosh, I'm a one shot to a rev. I think I just need to hide behind all the way back here, and hopefully someone will flush that guy out and maybe I'll get a shot. That's what you see a lot of players do. It's a complete romple stomp. Yeah, they're down to low hit points. Would have been a high roll for the 390 alpha rev to take him down, but he doesn't worry about it. It's a pixel tank game. You're going to win. Drive towards the hit points. Do that from the beginning. Go to the hit points. Go to the places where the fight is. Get your damage, and then move on to the next one. Stop hiding in the back. Stop being so timid. If you blow up, then you go back to your garage. You think about the wrong things you did. You go hit battle, and you go again. You go forward, and you try to play the game. I'm not trying to put too fine a point on it, really, or say it is just simple. But the concept is very simple. It's the execution that you want to work on and practice. But if you don't attempt the concept, you'll never get the details of the execution down. You can't learn this kind of thing. This kind of gameplay cannot be learned back here. All right? Some of it can be learned by watching my videos and getting ideas of what to do. But the only way you actually get these to do this is you do it. It's the dumbest thing ever. It's the dumbest statement in a series of dumb statements that I make about this pixel tank game. But drive your tank forward and shoot the bad guys. And if you die, who cares? Learn something from it as much as you can. Assess it, look at it, go, okay, well, maybe I was a little over-aggressive. Let's go near that spot, but not right into the middle of them. But get your gun in the game and shoot some people, and you will find workman-like games like this where you've got 2,800 damage and 2,000 assists. You go, wow, added together, that's almost 5,000 total. And then you get to the end card and you look at it and you're like, holy crap, I'm number 1 or 3 or 2 on what I thought was a good game but not amazing. And then you start considering, well, what the heck were all these other people doing? I'll tell you what they were doing. They are down here on the red line, and then they're hurt and they're hiding behind rocks. it really is that easy, folks. The concept of it. You can learn the details, but you're never going to learn it from the red line or sitting behind a bush or whatever all the various reasons are that the rest of his team did not much damage. Anyway, that's all I've got, man. Noble, thanks for sending this in. I appreciate it. He called this one American Muscle. I went in a slightly different direction. I think he did a really nice job. The 2,000 bounces is fantastic. And it did allow me to kind of talk about some of these things because I've done some videos on this in the past where one of them was titled something to the extent of, "What is everyone else doing?" Because I feel like I didn't do much, but by God, when I looked at the end plate, I did a whole lot more than most of you. All right, that's all I've got. I'm out of here. Thanks for your support. If you want other ways to support other than watching the videos, which I do appreciate, you can find other options down there in the description. We will see ya.